Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another show, The Effort for Content on BrizCon TV. We're putting some amazing effort in for you guys, but you guys deserve the best. Deserve the absolute best, don't they, Keith? What's happening, Keith? I've got Keith with me tonight. First and foremost, I want to introduce my Liverpool partner before we go to the enemy. You know, Keith, what's going on? That jacket looking Chris on you.
Come on, B. Come on. I had to bring out the finest for our good friends and our rivals for today. Now, I'm very good, man. You know, just getting through those last mince pies and those last beers.
Are you still on them?
Bruv,
Whoa.
listen, 24 hours of eating madness, you know, diet and dry January is round the corner. So I'm living my best life.
Okay.
One more time, crack one open, ready to go.
Okay, then the New Year's resolutions start, yeah?
Then
The
it
New Year's
starts,
resolutions, yeah. Okay. I hear you. But listen, I got a couple of cracking friends, almost I can call them now. You know, Matisse, I've known for ages. Jam, I've only recently got to know, but Jam is my favorite smiler in the football community. He has the only person that has a better smile than Jam is Michael Richards. In fact, Michael Richards. Jam has the best smile about. Jam, welcome again. Matisse, of course, welcome again, guys.
Big up, bro. Big up. Pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
big up. Thanks for that.
It's true though, man. You know what I mean? I just love Jam's smile, man. It's infectious.
Do you know what?
Positive.
I've got to say, there wasn't a lot of smiling going on in the last few
Well, I was
hours.
literally gonna say, I was gonna build up to that. I was gonna say, my brother's always smiling, man. But I wouldn't say nothing to smile about in the Chelsea community. I wouldn't say it's like doom and gloom like some people like to make how it is. But we're going to discuss it all. We're going to break it down. We're going to chop it all up and see where we're at. And to be honest with you, I'll start with you, Keith. It's not really hunky-dory in the Liverpool side of things as well, coming off the back of an absolute damaging defeat at Leicester. We're under huge pressure as well going into this game, right?
Man, you could have called this this show the show of the wounded animals, because I feel like because we're both hurting right now. We've both had some awkward results. No, we're not smiling at all, really, to be honest. And actually, you know, I mean, you're laughing if you paid your broadcast fees for this match on Sunday, because this is a team that neither team can afford to even draw, let alone lose. Can't even afford to draw, which turns this into a cup final, and which could be one of the most exciting Liverpool versus Chelsea games we've seen in a few years.
You know what? I see where you're coming from. I absolutely see where you're coming from, because, Matisse, I'll come to you, and it's one of those games where literally a draw is no good for either of us, right? Literally, It's 3 points, or dare I say it, bust.
Yeah. I mean, for a title race, we absolutely have to, both of us have to win. And for me, Chelsea have to win the next two. They have to beat Liverpool and they have to beat Manchester City. Highly unlikely, but we have to do it to remain even in the title race. And that's not even to be, you know, favorites or anything. That's just to be mathematically involved and saying that you can still be at the table, dining with the finest. If you don't win these two games, then you're going to the kiddies table at Christmas and you're arguing with Man United and Arsenal and shouting, and people are throwing sweets and shit. That's where we're going. So
that's the reality of it. Yeah, you're right.
That's the reality. So hopefully we can still dine, because I've been enjoying the food this first part of the season. But now, do you know what I'm saying? We're starting to go hungry. And for you guys, I think maybe similar. You know, you've got to win those games, because I said it to Grizz earlier. I think City are best prepped for this period that we're in terms of the disease going around and the cases and the changes of the fixtures and the close quarters of the games, because they're the only team at this table that have depth and quality depth. We have depth, but it's not quality. It's nowhere near their level. And you guys, you'll say yourself, maybe your depth could be a lot better if the investment came as well. So we're not at prime position to take advantage of these special circumstances like Man City are.
Jam, Matisse touches upon, like, sort of, you know what I mean, it's been a rosy enough start for you guys. So coming off the back of the Champions League win, right, stuttering into the top four, you must admit, and then starting the way you have, right? At the moment, where would you assess the season? Like, we're halfway through, right? We're halfway through. Where are you at right now? How are you feeling about as a team, as a squad, without going into sort of the events we've just come out in social media in the last couple of hours. We'll get into that. But before that, let's just say, how are you feeling with regards to your team and how you guys are set up right now?
Yeah, do you know what? Looking at the whole thing, I'd actually say it's about a 7 out of 10. I mean, we're better off than last season, definitely in the Premier League. We're more consistent on a whole basis, but it's just recently, man, we've gone from what could have been like a 9 out of 10 to a 7. December with Chelsea is just something else. They keep saying December keeps Decembering, and it's still Decembering, which we'll get to. It's frustrating for that reason. I mean, if you look at it in a whole, I would have taken this at the start of the season, absolutely, because I mean we've played half our games now, and if you double the points total just as an average, then we're looking at 82 points. I think we were on 41 yesterday. Yeah, so 82 points. That's an improvement of where we were, but that's not enough to win the league. Not with Man City winning 10 games in a row, going on that madness. In my opinion, it's already too late for us. It is. I don't know about you guys. I think you're more capable of going on a run a bit like them than we are. But do you know what I mean? I think that's long gone. I don't think that's our sort of level at the moment. I think third place, if we can secure that, I'll be happy the season as well. But yeah, for now, all good. All good. What more could you ask for?
Keith, I'm not going to let Jam get away with that. What more could you ask for? I'm not going to let them
I tried
get away
it.
with that.
I tried it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to let them get away with that, Keith, because I was of the opinion, first of all, I will put my hands up first. I was of the opinion that adding Lukaku and, far lesser extent, Saul, I think there was no one else. Did you guys add anyone else?
No, that was it.
Yeah. No.
Okay, so Saul, we know the situation, loan, 6 months, but we know we were vaguely interested in him. It was more the agent pushing him. And then by signing that Lukaku, that 100 million striker that they so badly needed in terms of putting the finishing touches to their, sometimes great build-up play. This was the season for Chelsea to challenge along with us because we had the big dogs back. And obviously City are City. So this was supposed to be, I called it one of the tightest title races it's going to be in years. Do you still hold lingering hopes for that from a Liverpool fan point of view? Or do you think it's over for both of us, like some people may think?
Look, I think both teams deserve a lot of credit, first of all. I mean, when you look at the gap between first, second, third, and the rest of the league throughout what we're halfway through into the season, you look at the goal difference, you look at the number of games won, you look at just the general performances, and for Liverpool and Chelsea have been in this title race and continue to be as close as possible to Manchester City. I actually warned a lot of my Chelsea fan mates. I warned a lot of Man United fan mates. I told them this isn't 5 years ago. 5 years ago, you could kind of go on a bit of a run and kind of just win the league, don't get me wrong, and do what you need to do. But with Manchester City there, you have to be near enough perfect. And people said to me that now, well, Man City don't have a striker. That doesn't matter. Man City don't need a striker. I mean, I think 7 or more players in the Man City squad have contributed at least 7 goals and assists this season in the Premier League. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous numbers. They get goals and assists from everywhere. So, this is just a reality of what the league is today. So it's not surprising we are where we are, because we, as Liverpool fans, kind of almost envy Chelsea's squad depth to a certain extent, right? Chelsea getting Saul caused a volcano of reactions on spaces over the summer.
Liverpool fans went wild. Yeah. Honestly, Jam, I know. Honestly, the reaction to Saul going to Liverpool to Chelsea, it was like, where's this? It was similar to when you guys got Werner almost on that level. Even Ziyech. People think transfers are the end all and be all, and I know what you mean, Keith. Sorry, I interrupted you.
The last point I wanted to make was in a league. We've all challenged for league titles. We've all seen our team win league titles, and the one thing that you need more than anything else in the world is a luck of circumstance. That's what you need. People think that football is all about having the best squads and the best players and the guy Lukaku's. No, you need your players like your Kantes, right? Like your Chilwell when he went on that run, right? You need those players who are on that run to not all of a sudden pick up knocks and injuries. You don't need a COVID outbreak. You need things to go your way. And the reality is, the gods have already written the scriptures for City, because for them to get out of this COVID pandemic with hardly any cases,
it's a joke.
Little here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you know, giving candy to a baby.
You know what, Matisse, Keith makes a very good point, and we actually discussed it, didn't we? That part of a winning team, there's many parts to a winning team, right? And we discussed it's not just about sort of buying players, just because, like I said on your stream earlier, please go and check out Matisse's channel as well, people. We done a preview. I don't know if it's out yet. Have you put it out?
Not yet. It'll be out tomorrow. Yeah, because this Lukaku thing's ruined it.
All right. Okay. We discussed in terms of the difficulties Tuchel's faced in terms of coming into a squad where he's not ideally had his players at his disposal, if you know what I mean, like the previous coaches, previous methods, players, right? And we're seeing a bit of that in the way Chelsea are becoming inconsistent, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And when we talk about you know, Chelsea and Liverpool, if you look at their points last season, they've improved on their points. You know, we both only have 2 defeats so far this season. If you was to end the season with 4 defeats, that's not bad. That's a good, very good season. We've drawn too many games, yes, but we haven't been awful. We have been good Premier League teams for this part of the season. For me, it's not even, and then that's on top of all the issues. That's in a normal season, you would say, you know, Chelsea and Liverpool are having good seasons and they've started very well so far with 2 defeats so far this season. Add on all the extra issues that we've had to deal with, that makes it even more difficult and even more remarkable that we have the points that we have. I think the freakish nature of Manchester City's performances, they need to get more credit for that. And I don't think we should be getting as much criticism as they should be getting the credit. People just need to give Manchester City the credit they deserve. Nobody should really in this, you know, COVID market be doing what they're doing. And like you said, luck of the draw, they've had no cases. I haven't heard one outbreak in their team once. I haven't seen them have any situation, not a single problem, not even an injury. Just everything's going perfectly for Manchester City. Not an injury, not a problem.
But you know what? But even the fact, I was thinking about this earlier, and even the fact that how they've managed the situation around COVID, and they must have some strict protocols in place. Even that deserves praise, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
you know, because
100%.
other clubs have. We don't know each club's protocols and whatever, but there has been cases in near enough every other team, apart from Man City. Even that needs to be praised, right?
Yeah, no, 100%, because they must be doing something right, and maybe everybody else's restrictions need to be a lot tighter and a lot less relaxed and lenient. But that point on the players is important, because, and we'll get to I'm sure some players later on, but Chelsea's attack it's very dysfunctional. It's not set up to be under one manager, because they simply all come from different walks of life. They don't come from the same attacking system. They don't even come from the same work rate and output. You look at someone like Kai, he's had to adapt himself to become someone that presses from the front a lot more than when he first arrived in England, and he thought he could just glide and glance and go for a walk to the shops and come back and all this shit. Like, that is completely the opposite to Mason Mount's mentality. Ziyech is another one who had the freedom in the Ajax system to do as he pleased. We don't talk about freedom with Mane, Salah, and Firmino. We don't talk about freedom with Jota. We don't talk about freedom with Bernardo Silva, with Sterling. These guys work their bollocks off. Why? Because they've been signed under the ethos, under the same manager, to work into a certain direction. I'm not saying the gliding is wrong, but if you're going to glide, shit, there better be some serious plan going on there, because in modern football, very few glide and get away with it. This is not the era of James Rodriguez and Ozil and all these guys. So there's just so much going on there for Chelsea's attack. And people think by just adding a forward into it, in terms of sacrifice the structure defensively, to sacrifice the midfield, go to a back 3, go to a back 4, and everything will be fine. We might score a few more goals, and maybe Pulisic's GA will look better for the sofa score rating, but we'll concede more. And we'll probably be in a worse position. So who really won? Nobody won.
I can say that I've won a little bit, because, Jam, coming to you, I rattled a few Chelsea fans at the start of the season when I said Lukaku may not be the answer to your prayers. Lukaku in Italy had a whole team, a whole formation, a whole coach dedicating his whole philosophy to Lukaku. And going like off what Matisse has already said, he's walked into a team, sometimes literally walked into his team. And as we've discussed with Matisse as well, the players around him have been brought by different coaches with different mindsets of how they want to set up their team. Like Matisse has said, Havertz has a different style of play. Ziyech has a different style of play. Werner, totally different to all of them, you know. He was used to completely different at Inter Milan as well. Is that a valid enough excuse for Tommy Tuchel? Or do you still think there should be some criticism for the way he hasn't got the best out of not only Lukaku? We're not going to pile on Lukaku because we're going to come into what's happened, but just your attack in general, because he's done the first bit right. He's made you guys very hard to beat. He's stiffened you up. But now when it got to the point where teams kind of sussed you out in terms of they didn't let you counter them, you had to go and break them down. You've kind of stuttered a little bit. Does he deserve more criticism, or could he have done better? Like, you know, setting up your attack.
Well, I think you've kind of said it there yourself. He's obviously made us really solid from the back, and I think it was one or the other, since these weren't really his players. And I think Matisse is right with what he's saying as well. It's a bit of a mashup at the moment. I'd even go one further as to say, other than Lukaku, when he's on form, we don't have another world-class attacker at the moment. So all of that responsibility goes onto him. And you look at who we're trying to compete against. We're competing against Liverpool. You've got Mane, you've got Salah, Man City. They've got even more, and it's very difficult. So maybe our expectations were a little bit too high. Now, yes, he's coming to a different system. I think he needs to take some of the blame, Lukaku, as well as maybe a little bit to the system, and I'll explain that. So it's quite a difficult one. He's coming to a different system, and I just feel like you could see it from the start that whether this was totally on him or not, he wouldn't really be as mobile as he usually is. And I feel like he still could have been. So I'm giving him a little bit of blame for that. And still he was getting goals. And I think Chelsea suddenly had a striker and a focal point. We didn't really know how to work that. You could see it was not really working in certain games, but we were still getting goals, still getting results. So it was okay. We then got him injured for a little while. We suddenly gone back to a striker that's quite mobile. And now he's come back into that. And it's just a bit up in the air. And no one really knows what's going on at the moment. So I think what I would say is Lukaku's probably done well. For now, he's probably at about 6 out of 10 for his start, just because of his goals. But there's more work to come from him. I think he acknowledged that, which we'll get into in his interview when he said that he needs to work harder, essentially. You know, it's not like what he was used to in Inter Milan. It's not all focused to him. We're still getting there. It's still a work in progress. Now, Tuchel, you can't really blame him too much because, again, these aren't really his players. I think going forward, the board really needs to back him to give him what he needs. Otherwise, it's just going to be a cycle. It's going to keep going again and again and again like this with Chelsea. We know that we don't usually keep managers that long because it's heavily dependent on success. And I just feel it just gets to points like this at times where we've won the Champions League, but what do we want to do going forward now? Do we want a bit of a dynasty, or is it just going to be the same old thing? If it's going to be the same old thing, then we can't really expect to keep up with Man City for the reasons that Matisse said. It's a bit difficult. So, yeah, I mean, Lukaku's got more work to do, and I'm a little bit annoyed with him, so maybe that doesn't help at the moment. But, you know, I think by the end of the season, I'm still hopeful we can work it out a little bit better. You know, whether that's adding in some other personnel around him to help feed him better chances, or whether that's him just stepping it up. Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see.
Do you know what, Keith? One of the reasons and one of the excuses, and I absolutely understand, and I'm with it when Chelsea fans tell me about this, that in attack or in any part of the pitch, you need familiarity. You need to give combination partnerships time to flourish. And we have probably the best example of that as a strike force in terms of they know each other's game like how I can read your mind, right? Most nights, right? Like it's mad, isn't it? Because that's what you need. You need to have a coach that believes in you, a coach that knows your game inside out, and then lets you train, like however many times they train a week, and then play you every week, So we know it's always 3 out of the 4 that are going to start. Obviously, with the addition of Jota, but before Jota, it was the front 3, near enough 95% of the game, and it shows in the way we attack, the way we play. Chelsea haven't quite got that, have they yet?
Yeah,
they haven't, but it's an interesting debate because you get into this situation where you want continuity. Okay, continuity creates a successful team. That can't be denied. But then you got a debate going on the other side of saying, all right, well, when a few players get injured, you should be able to tap into your squad, and your squad players should be able to step in and then provide the same continuity. I'm not of the belief personally that many successful teams outside of an 11 or 13 really can truly be successful if half of those 11 or 13 are either missing or were never part of the manager's plans in the first place. We talk about continuity as Liverpool fans, and we actually have lost that. We built a continuity between Fabinho and Thiago, right? And allowing Henderson and whoever plays the number 8 to be a lot more free. Since we've taken out Thiago, since you take out Fabinho, since you take out Van Dijk, all of a sudden, that continuity gets blown out the window. It's this essence of top football teams that they need to have a certain level of similarity. You can't always kind of chop and change and move people around at any given point unless you have the quality at such a high level as City do. And again, a praise to City, because I feel like we talk so much about how much money they have, but I believe they're one of the best run clubs in world football. They brought in a manager who had a philosophy, who brought the players around him, right? They were willing to invest and they were willing to build this team around one person. Whereas Chelsea, with like similar, opportunities to be able to offer these wages, have chopped and changed to such an extent that you have got a humongous squad, a massive squad of players that fit about 3 different managers' philosophies. So all of a sudden, you've got a situation where...
But that's the mismatch, though. That's the mismatch, though. The 3 different coaches. So what? Talk me through the last 3 coaches, lads. Who was before? So it was Frank...
Lampard.
Sarri and Conte. 3 completely different managers. And this is the issue. City now will get Ten Hag after Pep, or they'll get someone who plays attacking football and they play the close quarters, the tiki-taka, the technical football, whatever. Chelsea have gone from Conte, who is a serial winner. He doesn't give a shit about the youth. Let's get that right. He'll go and buy some 35-year-old guy from Italy if he has to. Do you know what I'm saying? And he just wants to win right now. He's here to win in the short term. The system, he'll put the 3 at the back and he'll go and he'll win in any way. Yes, we'll score some goals, but we'll dig in and be quite ugly to watch in the second season, which we were, and it will get quite toxic. And those players all came to the end of their lifespan. Your Matic, Diego Costa, Fabregas, all those guys. You got Sarri, who was the complete opposite, who wanted to play a system of, attractive football, but it was going to take a long time to instill. He's very stubborn. He's not going to play any other formation than 4-3-3. He's not going to be flexible. He's not going to tweak. He put in a couple of youngsters, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Loftus-Cheek, but he was set in his ways, and he's difficult to relate to for a lot of Chelsea supporters who are used to just winning in any way, shape, or form, not exactly trying to play this possession-based football. Chelsea were never really a possession-based team until really Sarri. They had a few stints of possession, but Chelsea were always that counter-attacking team or that pragmatic team, difficult to watch, defensive. Came to the big boys, sharp shop. Chelsea tried to change that model and play some better football. Then Frank Lampard is in between both of them, and he's a novice. And he's got ideas, but he doesn't really know how to flesh them out. He's got good intentions, but, again, doesn't really have the experience to put it down on paper, consistently, especially when given money to spend, which is what happened in the second season with the expectations upped. And now we have the best blend of all of those guys, plus the CV, plus using the young players, good in the press conferences, and just all round perfect, in my opinion, in terms of a blend. As good as it gets. Pep, Klopp level in terms of fit for a club, in terms of it doesn't get better. I think you only get worse regressing wise from this for a long time after this manager.
Okay. Interesting. Hold that thought right there, because that's interesting, because you've said something that I was gonna ask, but you read my mind. You knew I was gonna go towards there. But first of all, this ratio is embarrassing, isn't it, people? Like, this ratio is embarrassing. We got 271 likes, so that means like there's hella people out there not liking the stream. Like, what is it? Like, we got the handsome Keith, you know what I mean? We got the eloquent Matisse, and we got the beautiful smile of Jam. All right, forget me, innit? But for their sakes, like the stream, innit, bruvs? Come on, sort this out. But Jam, Matisse is of the opinion that this is the coach. This is the coach for you, short term and long term. When I say long term, in Chelsea's life, that means 3 years, right? Maximum 3 years.
Max,
right? Yeah, max. Are you of that opinion as well? And I just want to quickly touch upon this turnaround of coaches that you guys have, because look, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But at the end of the day, as a fan, do you care really, as long as you're successful? Because that's one question I've always wanted to ask Chelsea fans. I'm not sure how I would feel about it. I'll let Keith answer from a Liverpool point of view. But like, are you okay with changing your coach every season as long as the trophies keep rolling in because you haven't? What happens with Chelsea? What we've seen, the pattern is you win a Champions League and then you'll go missing for a couple of years. You win a league, you go missing for a couple of years, and then you come back and win a league again, because that's the way your owner works. Are you okay with that as fans?
I think for me, I am. You can't argue with the success that we've had over the last 20 years. I mean, it's been brilliant. We've really come up and just been winning everything. I love it. However, when you have a manager as we have right now in Tuchel, it is annoying to know that could be around the corner for him. You know, it literally, we don't know what's coming next month. If you guys hammer us on the weekend.
He's temperamental, isn't he? He's literally temperamental, isn't he?
This is it. And Matisse is spot on. All those reasons as to why this guy is the man. Since he came in, I've got to admit, I wasn't actually really that fond of him at the start. I didn't know too much about him. But I heard about the PSG story. I was just like, how he left there, and I just thought, okay, we're going on to more chaos potentially here. At some point, it's gonna go tits up. But then he came in, and I loved him straight away. From him doing his tactics on the flight over, to having that training session straight away, to a decent performance against Wolves in that first game, all the turnaround within 48 hours or less. I just thought from that moment he's been brilliant in press conferences. They've tried to give him nonsense, and he's always come back with a good response. The squad happiness looks good. Improvements in the team. Obviously, we won the Champions League. I just think he's really hit the nail on everything that he's done. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to risk it, as Matisse said. I don't want to risk going and searching for a new manager that might not be as harmonious in all places. That's long. That is annoying. We've got a really good guy right now, and all we need to do is back him, in my opinion. And I think he could stay beyond that 3 years. I think he could. I really do, as long as we give him the right conditions. Now, it seems there might be a bit more nonsense in players not signing contracts coming around the corner. But if the board can get behind this man, I really do think it could be a beautiful future with him. I really do think so.
I want to come back to their opinion on sort of player power and sort of certain comments that have been attributed to, or an interview that's been attributed to Lukaku. But very quickly, Keith, how would you feel if Liverpool suddenly became that club, like Chelsea, revolving doors, managers coming in, coming out, but every 2 seasons we're picking up a league title, the odd FA Cup there as well, Champions League. You did win the FA Cup. No, you didn't win the FA Cup. You won the Champions League. You've won a league. Is there any other cups that you guys have won recently?
Europa League. Yeah.
So the trophies every 2-3 years are there, but there's no stability. Dare I say it, no real identity of a club. Do you know what I mean when I say identity, Keith? Like, you know what I mean, guys. I don't mean that in a detrimental way, but
no, you're right.
Yeah. So, Keith, are you okay with that? Because as fans, do we just care about the trophies? Like, I mean, do what you got to do in the boardroom, manager, whatever. As long as our list of, titles is going up, how would we feel? Do you reckon?
Well, let's put it to our time under FSG. We've had 3 managers, right? So we've had Kenny Dalglish, we've had Brendan Rodgers, and we've had Jurgen Klopp. Now Kenny Dalglish won us a trophy, right? He won us the League Cup, and the owners were pretty ruthless with Kenny Dalglish, probably to a point where the fan base were a bit uncomfortable. And I think that kind of gave us an inkling into your answer to that question, which is I don't think it sits as comfortably with a team like Liverpool, not because of the fact that it makes us better than Chelsea or, we're morally more, better than them, but more to the fact that, Chelsea's kind of recent, last 10, 15 years in terms of a culture and identity has been ruthlessness, right? Whereas Liverpool have not had that same level of ruthlessness when it's come to managers. We've given them a chance to get to know the city, to get to know the culture, to get to know the philosophy and given them time to blend. So it wouldn't sit well with me personally, because I just don't think that it fits. I don't think Liverpool can can ever be a club that ruthless, because it just doesn't fit the identity of the club. In saying that, FSG are not dancing fairies. They cut Rodgers pretty swiftly. They gave him what? They gave him a year. They gave him a year and a bit after the title challenge, and they said, "Listen, see you later." As I said, they cut Kenny Dalglish too, and who knows what would have happened with Jurgen Klopp if he didn't win the Champions League, and it was just just about. So, there's a bit of a ruthlessness in everywhere, but I just don't think it suits Liverpool and not ourselves.
I held back on the super chat, and I wanted to bring you up right now, Matisse. Shaq, thank you for the super chat. It says, "Big up, panel. Why is Lukaku's comments come right before our game? Heard he said it weeks back. Why was it released now?" So we get on to the talking point of today. I think we're half an hour in, so it's only fair that we get into the talking point today. Talk to us. What is this about? What has happened? Where has this come from?
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, if we go back in the timeline, Lukaku was out with a COVID case, wasn't playing regularly, wasn't scoring before that as well. He had a barren run of about maybe 7-8 games without a goal, and wasn't in great form. The team still hasn't adapted to him. He hasn't adapted to the team. And obviously he wants to win. He's come back here to prove a point, etc. But for me, even though those comments were a couple of weeks ago, it doesn't excuse the fact that he shouldn't be talking about, these things publicly, in my opinion, especially at his age, 29 years old, 28 years old. You're experienced now. You've been around the block. You've been bit on your ass before by the media. So you're not stupid. You're a very intelligent guy. You speak 5-6 languages. You know what's up. You know how this goes. So it's up, and it's very ironic that he deleted his Twitter a couple of weeks ago as well. So he probably knew that some madness was going to come down on him on Twitter when this got released. Now it's very clever from Sky Italia and Fabrizio to release this now. The timing is everything. Don't release it when he's going through that he's talking about, and he's going through that moment of hardship, because then we will understand it and we will like, cool. Release it when he's had a few goals under his belt. Chelsea are not going through great form, and of course now, it changes the narrative and it adds chaos to the situation. But in my opinion, people are being way too easy on him, and it's hypocrisy, because if this was Jorginho who had said this, Chelsea fans would be absolutely dragging him to the Wolves. And they dragged Sarri for a similar thing in terms of affiliation with Napoli and leaving Chelsea in a transfer ban, because Chelsea fans didn't take a liking to him and didn't show him the same love that Lukaku's been receiving on his return. Unfinished business, back and I'm better, quotes, PR. The whole week when Lukaku signed, he had a whole big PR event. It was incredible. It was like the Met Gala. It was like the Oscars. It was a fucking parade, a big speech, confetti dropping from the sky. He came here and said, "I want to retire here. I'm in my prime. I'm happy to be here. This is my dream club. I've wanted to be here since I was a kid." We've got I'm doing streams with the Anderlecht shirt on, and he's visiting Stamford Bridge on his museum tour, talking about Didier Drogba and shit. And now you're telling me you want to go back to Inter Milan before your career's finished, in a good shape. So not at the end of your career, but still within your prime, because you've got unfinished business there and you love the fans. I'm not saying I'm even mad, offended at the possibility of him going. Chelsea don't offer 3-4 year contracts to plus 30s, but it's the fact that your mindset is even thinking about the next move. Focus on this, big man. You have not done what you need to do here. You got Man United fans cussing you out, Saeed calling you Timberland boots and telling you that you're a flat track bully. You have not won the Premier League title in your career. and you've been here for quite a few seasons. Everton, Man United, now here. You got business here to finish. Do the business here first. Focus on that, especially when you've been out sick and you've been injured, etc. You haven't been on great form this year. It's only him and Harry Kane that are now starting to revive themselves like Fortnite. Focus on this. When you're finished here, then you can go back to Italy and you can go and spud it up with them brothers and make kiss up and all that. Do their business here. You have not done it here. So that's where my frustration comes from. And if he was young, then fair enough. You can get manipulated by the media. But he knows the media. I've watched a podcast of him talking publicly. Great speaker. He knows what's going on. He had an active Twitter account doing Q&As and whatnot. He's not stupid. So although 100% Sky Italia and whoever interviewed him definitely put the it's like snakes on the plane. They put fumes on the snakes and everything. It was very, very very fed in, and it was very easy for him to be able to feel comfortable and talk his talk. But you need to be more smart than that, man. You need to be more smart than that.
Jams, Matisse has made his views and opinions very clear. I didn't think that they're going to be that, what's the word? Ruthless, but it's good. Matisse has shown me a ruthless side that I didn't know Matisse had, man, after knowing him all this time. But he's told me his opinion. Do you share that opinion? A, and B, surely this isn't something that isn't repairable right now. Or is it repairable? And where does Lukaku and Tuchel go from here? Because look, since the interview, there's been an article, we believe, people are saying that it's been said that this was 3 weeks ago. It's been slightly taken out of context because there's been meetings between the coach and the players since. And he scored in your last game. So, or is this trouble for you?
Why are you airing your dirty laundry out like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just no need. Like Matisse said, I don't want to be boring and just agree with him, but he knows what the collateral and the consequences of this are. Just the whole of the day was just absolute nonsense coming for Chelsea, coming for the fans, just any credibility, just getting hammered. And this is what happens. He knows that the media can take things out of context. So don't say these things. There's no need to say it. There's no need to say it. And yeah, look, I've got to really point out one thing here. He hasn't done it with us yet. You may notice before I said the only one when he's on form that is world-class of our attackers is Lukaku, because he is clinical when he's on form. He's yet to show that with us, if you know what I mean, on a consistent basis. For me to actually say this brother's world-class right now. So, yes, he's got a long way to go himself. He still has work to do. We need to be winning stuff. We bought you at £100 million. That's a lot of money. We need you to provide now. And what it has done is it's given him nonsense, because if he doesn't have a good game against Liverpool, all of this bad energy, all of this bad energy this is now created, convenient timing, maybe he didn't mean for that to happen, but all of this bad energy is now on him. So unless he gets a goal or an assist or just has a good game, he's going to start feeling some of the effects of this. It's going to be a bit of nonsense coming his way. I don't necessarily agree. Well, this is the thing. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it is repairable. And that would be for him to now go and score in 3 games in a row. Just carry on the good streak. He's got to go in these last 2 games, go and score in the next 3. Do you know what I mean? Go and win some games with a match-winning goal. Stuff like that, people will get over it sooner rather than later. It's not a long-term thing. But if things go sideways now, and with everything that's going on with Chelsea right now, with all the injuries, COVID, all of that, there's a potential it could happen with some of the big games we've got this month. That's not going to help him. If anything, that's a catalyst for more nonsense for him. So, look, man, he's got to play well on the weekend. That's how he gets over it.
It's true. Fans can be fickle, can't they? We all know stories that come out about players showing their unhappiness or displeasure at a coach's tactics or certain leaks. But as Jam says, if he bags a goal against Virgil and Matip or whoever's playing Konate, and it leads to a Chelsea win, I'd say 60-70% will be forgotten. And then if he goes and bags another against City, then I reckon 80 to 90% will hold back and say, give the brother another chance? Because that's the way fans work, right? Or do you think like Matisse insinuated, he knows exactly what he's doing. It was very calculated. He's a big man now. He's a mature man. He's been to Everton, United, Inter, and now Chelsea, big clubs. He knows how media works. And do you think he knows what he's doing and he just wants out, it seems?
Listen, when you talk about these subjects, Liverpool fans are the perfect people to talk about. You know, let's not even touch on the Luis Suarez debacle and what pain he caused our club and issues. And, you know, we still backed him 100% of the way. And, you know, we're ultimate proof that fans can be fickle, even when your star player tries to push for a move to Arsenal over the summer. So we've been there, we've done that. But for what Lukaku's doing is calculated. Absolutely. I don't think he's happy in England.
Ooh,
I don't think he likes England.
Okay, bombshell from Goldmouth. Bombshell.
This is it. This is calculated 100%. Look, at the end of the day, you're a 29-year-old big man getting paid a lot of money with a lot of friends in this industry, right? You know, a lot of agents in this industry. Clearly, you've come back thinking that pastures new would be, you know, everything would be all glowing, all beautiful. And you come to realize that actually, you know, maybe he's not as happy in England as he made out to be in the first place. And maybe it's started to realize that actually maybe this isn't the place for me.
Because he had it nice in Italy. He had it real nice. Everything, as I said, everything was for him. Inter was literally based around him. He was a one-man wrecking ball for Inter, literally single-handedly won him the league title with the help of Conte and the formation based around him. He's come to Tommy Tuchel. I call him Tactical Tommy, just for the Chelsea fans out there. I call him Tactical Tommy, who's more intricate in the way he likes to build his teams, more tactical, more all about intricate play with more tens involved.
Yeah, because they have a job. See, this is the difference. The way Tuchel and the way Klopp think your attackers should be is your job isn't just to score goals and be the guy that scores 25, 30 plus goals a season. That's not necessarily your job. There's a lot of other facets of the role, including pressing passing lanes, including pressing the opposition, including being available to increase the goal loads of your Mason Mounts, of your Ziyechs.
And Tuchel's big on that. Yeah, Tuchel's big on that.
So it's not just about Lukaku, where Inter invested a hell of a lot of money. Let's remember that transfer window that they had, they spent a ton of money. They outspent everybody and won the league quite comfortably. They were ultimately the Man City of Italy last season, right? They outspent everybody else. I just think that Lukaku, these comments are absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace. You have missed 45 days of football. You've missed 9 football matches. You've scored 5 goals this season at the halfway point, and you're out there talking about questioning, you know, your role in the team, the manager, this, that, and the other. Like, you know, give your team some respect. You're relying on your likes of Jorginho to be scoring the goals to keep you in the title race. That's your job. It's your job to keep fit. It's your job to make sure that you keep, you know, as healthy and as sharp as possible. So to come out and do what he's done here, for me, if he done that to us as a club, I think it would be absolute pelters for this. But like you said, a couple goals and it turns it around. But maybe he just didn't fancy it against Joel Matip on Sunday, because he didn't fancy it against Joel Matip at Anfield. So, you know, maybe as I said before, these leaks were done on purpose.
Shaq with a super chat says, Chelsea lads, the way you guys picking up injuries, any blame on Tuchel not rotating the squad properly since you guys have squad depth? Matisse?
No, I think Tuchel's made very few mistakes. I think some mistakes I would say is, you know, maybe putting Pulisic up as a target man and not allowing him to be in a more fluid front two and work the channels and play to his strengths instead of having him as this Olivier Giroud type player against Everton and Wolves. Had to play Pulisic, you know, he only had 3 forwards, but definitely used them differently. But in terms of rotating, he's always been good for rotating. You know, he has used the players. He started the season with Alonso when Shaw wasn't fully fit for the England national team late comeback from Euros. Mount has been out. He hasn't used Mount as much as Lampard used to use Mount, overplay Mount. We've actually used basically everyone. He's used Trevor Chalobah. You know, he's
Yes,
used
yeah,
everyone.
yes.
So it's we've seen all of the different combinations of defenders: Christensen, Rudiger, Silva, Trevor Chalobah, Aspilicueta. They've all played. Reece, Alonso, Chilwell. They've all played. Both the goalkeepers have played. All the midfielders have played. Saul has played against Watford. Ruben Loftus-Cheek has played. Like Barkley has even played. You actually can't use the squad any more than he's used the squad. The injuries are just the injuries. Again, like when you play, and this is why I sympathize with Klopp, when you're playing back-to-back games in this climate, in close quarters with very little time to, Champions League, international break, Premier League, this Christmas period, there's going to be injuries. And then on top of that, when you're dealing with injuries, and then you're adding on to cases on top of that for COVID, that's a double whammy that there's nothing you can do about.
Can't cater for it.
Coach. Nothing you can do. It's an hourly testing system. 1 minute a brother's fine, next minute he's gone. Reece James is now out for a few months, I think, or a month now. That's just been confirmed. Again, that's his second injury of the season. Chilwell injured, Kante injury prone multiple times this season. Jorginho literally on painkillers. Kova's been out. Lukaku out. You could just keep going and going. Pulisic, the brother born to be out. He was out from the first day of the season. He played, scored against Palace. We didn't see him again for like 2 months. Like this is the way we move. This is Chelsea. We got a couple injury prone players, and then we got a couple cases, and it's all mad. That's just how it goes.
C9 with a super chat, but he don't want to speak to us, but we absolutely appreciate the support. But if you said a couple of words, I would have read it out for you, my friend. But I appreciate the super chat. Jam, Sunday, it's a bit of a madness in it for both teams. This was built up to be, if we rewind, what, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, or less than that maybe, I don't know, 4 weeks. If we rewind 4 weeks, this was the patch of games where Chelsea fans would have looked upon and said, Liverpool. So you would have looked upon these results as Burnley, Everton, who was the other team? Brighton. We dashed them out the way. Okay, Man United could have been tricky, but we dashed those teams out the way. We build up to the end of December, right? Still around the top of the table, 1 or 2 points possibly in it, because you had a bit of you was at the top, wasn't you? Then we got Chelsea, then we got Liverpool and Man City in consecutive games. That excitement, that almost buzz, it's almost turned into a bit of fear now, isn't it? Trepidation. You're going into these games, different mindset now, isn't it? Or do you go into it and think, you know what? Fuck it. If we beat Liverpool, who are just showed that they're not in the greatest form of themselves, Man City just about beat Brentford 1-0. We can turn up. We've had the better of Man City the last couple of games at their ground, whatnot. Suddenly, it's back on. Which way are you?
I mean, I'm going to make a bit of a long answer here. So, I mean, look, you look at our home games, like you said, we've gone 1-0 up in all those games. Everton, Brighton, Burnley, and then we've conceded equalisers, last-minute equalisers, especially when we're missing big chances at 1-0 up. So it's very, very, very frustrating. And I think you want to go into these games, like you said, on form. You want there to be a bit of a fear factor. Liverpool coming to the bridge. We've won our last 4 games. Trouble. Do you know what I mean? But it's the other way around. You're coming to the bridge thinking, we're going to score at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're struggling here. We just need to get the fans on their back. And it's peak. That's generally how it is right now. And look, we're NHSFC, very disrupted. You don't know who's going to be playing. Look, there'll be more COVID cases or something happen before the game. I guarantee you that's just how it's been going for us. It's frustrating. And I mean, the thing is with this formation and this style of play that we play with Tuchel, which has been successful, I'm not criticising it, you need certain players to be playing. You need your 2 centre mids to be able to control games, control the ball, and maybe be able to progress it, at least one of them. You need dynamic fullbacks. That means they can get up and down and, they can contribute, maybe even beat their man one-on-one sometimes. You need that. You need a bit of speed. We're missing those fullbacks. And we've been here before, right, Matisse, where we don't have the speed in the fullbacks. You don't have them having the same ability to get up and down and be as creative as Ben Chilwell and Reece James are, because it's probably going to be Aspi and Alonso. It's the problem. Suddenly we lose our creativity and everything. So, in answer to your question, I'm shitting myself. I'll be honest. It's
Really?
peak. It's looking peak. No, seriously, it's looking peak. It just feels like, based on the home form that we've got as well. I know you guys lost to Leicester, but you probably could have won that. You still had decent chances. Salah missed a penalty. He never does that. If you score that, you probably win the game. I just think that right now this might just be at this moment a step too far. However, we still do have match winners in our team. We do. They could turn up. Who knows? And if they do, then great. But if we lose this game, it doesn't get any easier for us. And unfortunately, I think if we do lose the game, we've then got to be looking over our shoulder. I'm just being real. A lot of Chelsea fans don't like to hear that. They don't. They're trying to keep their heads above water and say, no, we're not in the top 4 race. But if we lose, we're in that race, unfortunately, because we've got to go to the Etihad. And with no offense to you guys, that game is at the moment 10 times worse. Do you know what I mean?
Even a different level, yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I agree with you, probably. Keith, from our point of view, it's pretty much the same in terms of it's a must-win, which makes it intriguing how this game's going to set up. Because you know me, I like to look at it from the tactical point of view. I don't like getting wrapped up in the emotional side of things too much, right? Me being the football man that I claim to be, I have to look at it from a tactical point of view. And I think inadvertently, the way, and I said this on the post-match after Leicester with you as well, that inadvertently, I think this game could play into Chelsea's and Tuchel's hands in terms of, I think without his attacking fullbacks, or he's got the lesser of the fullbacks that he wants, without having the first choice possibly defense that he's got, he's going to play a far more pragmatic game. He's going to approach it far more pragmatically. And we've struggled to be efficient in the last couple of games. Against Spurs, we had enough chances to win the game. Against Leicester, we had enough chance to win the game. I think it's going to be closer than some people have started to believe, including you. I know you think we're going to go there and ras them up, but I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. Only because of the fact that the way it's happened for Chelsea in terms of COVID cases, injuries, backs against the wall, Lukaku coming out, point to prove. I think it's going to be intriguing how both teams set up, because we only know one way to play.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest with you, the only team I feel that could slap themselves in the face on Sunday will be Liverpool. I look at a lot of these games over the last few years when we go to play like a title rival, like a Man City, Chelsea. You go to the big games. I always look for specific players, whether they're playing or they're not playing. And when I always go in with a lot more confidence when I know that the likes of N'Golo Kante, specifically N'Golo Kante, who I think has had some of the best games both for Leicester and for Chelsea against Liverpool,
100%.
stand up every single time that man plays his man of the match, and he's not playing, and that's a big problem.
No, he's not out. He's not out.
Wow, I thought he was injured.
No. You should know better. You should know better, Keith. Kante is injured 7 months out of the year, or 8 months out of the year.
He's
but 100% guaranteed the 2 games against Liverpool, brother is there covering 3 positions. Yeah, 3 positions. People call him 2 positions. I'll call him 3 positions. He covers the whole width of that pitch, man. He's
incredible. He's amazing. So I almost looked at, so for us, we go in with a pretty much a full strength team. You know, I pray that if Thiago is not available, then Curtis Jones plays, because Liverpool have a bit of an issue.
Oh shit! 100%. Another goal-mouth bombshell. But we won't go into team. We won't go into your prediction of the team. But okay.
Tactically for me at the moment, Liverpool, that left side midfield area that we've got going on at the moment needs to be solved a little bit, because ultimately it becomes a tennis match, right? Liverpool have changed the way they play football. We don't play anymore with like the free workman horse-like midfielders, and then they do X, Y, and Z. Liverpool do have now almost like those two in midfield, and Fabinho does the job on the right-hand side, but it's whether we get another player who can do it on the left-hand side. And other than Thiago, the only player who's actually been able to do a good job there has been Curtis Jones, in my opinion. Keita doesn't do a good job there. Oxlade-Chamberlain doesn't do a good job there. So going into that game, that is probably my only concern, is that left-hand side. Other than that, the onus is on us to win the football match. We have no excuse. We go in there with a fully fit team. right? A team of players that should go to Chelsea and take advantage of the fact that they've got players missing. Take advantage of the fact that they're on a bit of a iffy run of form. 3 draws in your last 6, right? I mean, it's rich man's problems, right? We're crying over draws and small things like that, right? But this is Liverpool's chance to take advantage, and ultimately, if we do not leave Stamford Bridge with a win, then it's a massive, massive setback because we go into this as the stronger team.
Matisse has got a jet in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to give Matisse. I'm going to read out a super chat from Ronaldinho Gold. By the time Alonso turns, the game will be over. That's segueing into what you think the Chelsea team will be. Please, Matisse, if you may, before you go, in terms of the situation that you're in, and then a prediction, my brother, and then we will catch up. So give us a team prediction and give us a score prediction.
I'm not even sure who's even available at this point, but I'll try and throw together some sort of team that can that can qualify for this.
Hold it up.
Mendy in goal. Rudiger, as far as I'm aware, is fine. Christensen was come off the other day, so I think I guess he's not fine. Trevor Chalobah will start. And Silva came off last weekend. I'm hoping he's okay, so I'm going to throw him in there. I'm not sure though, but I don't want to play Azpilicueta. And well, we have to play Azpilicueta right wing back because James is out for 3 months, which has just been confirmed. 3 months without Reece James. 3 months.
Wow.
So no Chilwell for the rest of the season. Reece James out for 3 months, and Chelsea have only 1 wing back, which is Alonso, and Azpilicueta, who gasses out 60, 70 minutes on the other side. So right wing back against Mane is Azpilicueta. Left wing back is Alonso against Salah. The pivot can be Kova and Kante because we need legs, and Jorginho is carrying something every single game.
Oh, you're dropping Jorginho.
I have to.
Ballon d'Or nominee, brother.
I have no choice.
He's
we have no
knackered.
legs. He's knackered. We have no legs in the team. The wing backs move at a pace of 5 miles per hour. So I have to drop Jorginho. I can't have all the slow players playing. So Kante and Kova go in there. And the front 3 can be Mason Mount 100%. You need his running. Lukaku can play. Why not? You've got more than enough motivation after these quotes dropping to score and change the narrative again. And the final guy, who's fast. I mean, it can be Callum or it can be Pulisic. Callum had a shocker against Brighton with the 2v1 situation, but then he was good against Villa with the cross and the winning the penalty. So it kind of is just average now. And you know, maybe you want to throw in Pulisic. I don't really care who plays that last forward role, to be honest.
No, Hakim. What's your thoughts on Hakim Ziyech? I mean, are you going to miss him?
I don't even know if I don't think he's fit. I haven't seen him for a while. I don't know where he's gone. There's so many problems. Is he okay? No,
he wasn't fit before. He had like a calf strain or something. This is the thing. Who knows? I don't know if he's back either.
I don't know. So I haven't included him because I haven't heard from him in a while. So I don't know if he's gone take a shisha break or something. I don't know. So here we are. This is the team, and God help us all. My prediction is 1-1, and that's me just being nice. If I'm to bet, it's a Liverpool win. I don't know who you got available, but I don't know. Are
you gonna hold on to that prediction in tomorrow's Big Six show just for tactical reasons between me and you?
It's unlikely.
Okay. But listen, Matisse, I know you got a jet, so we're gonna let you and appreciate your time. And thank you very much for coming on. We catch up real soon.
See you later.
Thank you so much, guys. Pleasure.
Take care. Nice one. Jam, we need some more insight, brother. We need you to rack your brain because Matisse made out every man's crippled and every man's not playing. Surely you got some people coming back. Surely give us how you think your guys are going to line up, and if there's any changes from the way Matisse thinks or the way you think Tuchel is going to set you up, and what your game plan is going to be tomorrow.
So do you know what? I'll change it slightly. I'm going to assume that Silva's not fit. I'm just going to assume that, which is a big problem for us.
So do you know what the injury was?
I don't actually know exactly what it was. I just know he kind of pulled up and was struggling to walk. So
people talk about my desperation. I've got one picture. Man's are getting gassed, but yeah, the game's the game. Yeah.
It's I think it might have been like even a calf or like hamstring thing, like you got a tight hamstring, something like that. But I don't think we're going to want to risk him if he's not 100%. Like, again, we're playing against pacey forwards, so we need to have legs there. So unfortunately, I'm going to add in Marlon Sarr instead of Thiago Silva, because who else have we got? I'm not missing anyone out.
Surely you can go Azpilicueta as one of the centre backs, and then Hudson-Odoi's been playing right wing back, right?
I think if we do that, it's peak. I mean, you've got to think we're playing against Salah, we're playing against Mane, and whilst we've got the two slowest players in the team playing there, you know, Azpilicueta and Alonso potentially, they're better defensively. I saw Pulisic was actually playing right wing back recently, and I saw him.
Wow.
He was getting ripped in that Brighton game by like Sonny March or something, of all people. But mate, that guy, I didn't realise he could do stuff like that. Yeah, did you watch the game? You watched the game, right?
You did it to us as well, bro. We've been there. Who the hell is this guy, man?
I didn't know he could move like that. He looks like quite a big guy and a bit stiff and all that, but he was dancing. He was like, boop, 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 boop. So yeah, I mean, just seeing that show it, I don't want Mane to be doing that to Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi. I'd rather have Azpilicueta and Alonso on the wings, on the wing back position. So with that in mind, it's got to be Marlon Sarr, Rudiger, and Chalobah as our three centre backs. There's enough pace there, hopefully, for the cover from all three of them. Marlon Sarr, I'm not sure about his positioning, and he's a bit rash, so that'll be interesting. Then, yeah, I hear what Mark's saying about Kovacic and Kante. Jorginho, he was making, in the last game against Brighton, when they started to grow into the game after 30 minutes, signs of fatigue started to show. He really showed. The crisp touches he usually takes in the turns weren't really happening. And, yeah, they just started overrunning him. So I do think he's due a rest. It needs to happen, unfortunately. So Kovacic and Kante, they've got just about enough minutes under their belts to start a game like this. One of them's probably going to have to come off after a while because they've only just come back from COVID themselves, you know. So that's how stretched we are. It's bad. And I don't want to hear Loftus-Cheek play. I don't want to hear Bartley playing. I don't want to hear Saul playing. Nah, not good enough. Just not good enough. Then the front three, it's Mason, Lukaku, and I mean, I know Kai Havertz is back, but you probably don't want to be starting him after a while out with COVID. Timo Werner's not back yet. Ziyech is there, but I think he's just about coming back from that calf injury. So 50-50. It's going to have to be Hudson-Odoi or Pulisic. Now, do you go with Hudson-Odoi that had a stinker against Brighton and just give him that confidence and go, there you go again? Or do you go with Pulisic, who's been unfortunately playing out of position for the last few weeks, playing up front, playing right wing back? Do you give him where he probably plays his best football, the left wing spot, just because Cho didn't play too well? It's hard. That's 50-50 as well. So, yeah, I'll probably go with Pulisic. I'll go with Pulisic, left wing.
You know,
you can see our problems. You can see our stresses, man.
You say that, but you've rattled off a few internationals there, bro. Come on. You've rattled a few internationals' names there. You know what I mean? Evan Sakragard is in the building. The man with the tactical nous out of the crew. You know, I'm sorry, Keith. I have to call it out. You know what I mean?
No, I'm all passion. No,
you're the passion merchant without a doubt. you know, Avi's the waffle merchant. You know what I mean? We got Conroy, the serial killer with the mustache, but Sakragard is the one. Not having speed in the wing-back positions, Jamie says, won't be a huge issue for Chelsea if they park the bus and only defend in small spaces. This is my thought as well around it, that I don't think you're going to be expansive. I don't think you're going to look to be expansive against us. I think it's going to be literally play for set pieces and hopefully use your three centre-backs and Lukaku on set pieces or on the counter. I generally think you're going to really not come out at us.
I hear that.
Do you think that?
Yeah. I hear that, but you know what? The only thing that I worry about is that we haven't been clinical going forward. So if we do that, I don't think there's much danger of us getting a goal unless it's a set piece. We've actually been good at set pieces, and obviously our defenders have been scoring a lot of goals. So maybe it will be from one of those means. And sometimes you have to do that in football matches, don't you? But My worry is obviously, if we sit back a bit more, we're going to struggle going forward, and it might even make it easier for you potentially. However, if
In
you don't
terms of
have much
controlling the
space,
game, yeah.
If you don't have much space though, then actually, who knows? But then that's probably when you'll get a free kick and Trent will just whip it into the top corner, as he's done in the last few years, and then that would be that anyway. So, I hear that though. That's hopefully what we'll
done
do.
that a few times.
Keith, Ronaldinho Goat says Tuchel was going to put 6 centre-backs on Salah. He's not going to put 6, but he's definitely going to put at least 2, because this guy's had a couple of bad games for us. Let's say how it is. Mohamed Salah has not been his elite levels last 2 games. Wow, when was the last time he had 3 bad games? Are you expecting Mohamed Salah, the real Mohamed Salah, to turn up? Are you expecting the real Jota or Firmino to turn up, or the real Sadio Mane? Basically, what I'm asking you is it front 3 time to really turn up and bring back some goals, like efficiency, like where we don't have to create 7-8 to score 1 or 2? Do you know what I mean?
I think the Leicester defeat humbled us. I think, a lot can be learned from a defeat, and sometimes a defeat's not always a bad thing. So, there's a lot of players that need to come out and prove that they, belong in the title race with Manchester City, and B, belong in this Liverpool team. I think Klopp's comments after the game were quite damning. I haven't seen him that angry in a long time. Genuinely disappointed and on the borderline of disgust for the way that we managed that Leicester game. So I think there's a lot to prove, but I think it's time for Klopp to be a little bit more ruthless in picking this side. And I think, it's time for Sadio Mane, to take that poor form and have to take some time on the bench. Firmino's been in the wing for a while. He's had not bad season. I mean, injuries beforehand. I think he was actually turning into a bit of a fox in the box. And actually, we need a striker. Actually, if Chelsea are gonna do the whole counter attack and kind of sit back and let us have all the ball, then we're going to need a striker and need Firmino to be the new Firmino, which is give their front 3 something to think about between the lines. And I also think that actually, if Thiago doesn't play, then it becomes a little bit more of an issue. If Thiago plays and is fit, and we go Thiago, Fabinho in the midfield, and one of Henderson, Ox, or Keita, I think we absolutely we take down any type of 6
resistance,
or this type of play. I think the one thing that Thiago's been so good at this season has been the patience with the ball in situations where teams have sat deep, and he's kept the ball to such an extent and moved the teams around him together with Fabinho that actually it becomes a bit more tiresome when you do try and counter-attack us, because we've had the ball and we've been moving you from left to right for about 10 minutes. So I pray and I hope Thiago starts. But even the likes of Van Dijk, I think Van Dijk is due a big performance, a very big performance. And I think taking advantage of the situation that's happened with Lukaku is a perfect chance for him to show that he's still the big dog. Trent Alexander-Arnold, terrible game against Leicester. The worst game I've seen him play all season. So a lot of points to prove. So I think you're going to see a very fast start from Liverpool. Very fast, very aggressive start. They're going to force Chelsea into a lot of mistakes, I believe. The question will be when that goal does come, because the longer it takes, the more susceptible to counterattacks we become. If we get an early goal, I don't think the Chelsea fans will accept at Stamford Bridge a Chelsea team to be sitting back and getting peppered and hoping for counterattacks like most other teams do against us. I just think that a wrong touch from Lukaku is going to have a few groans. Alonso, I'd be interested to know who your scapegoats are at Chelsea. Actually, we've got a few scapegoats. Whenever we play badly, Henderson's usually the first one that gets it in the air from the fans. We've got a few others. I get a feeling that the likes of Alonso is a little bit of a scapegoat. I wonder if he gets pressed and gets hurried into situations early, whether that's going to get the crowd on their back. So Liverpool, for me, have the opportunity to really turn the tide, the Chelsea fans against Chelsea early. And if we can do that and be aggressive, again, we've won there before. Not much, but we've won there before.
I'm going to come back to you and ask you your lineup, Keith, and then we're going to get your prediction as well. Drew with the super chat says, highly unlikely, but what if Arsenal beat City? Listen, we'll cross that bridge. You know what I mean? When we get there, that's if that happens. That's a massive if. I know Arsenal been playing better, but I don't give them much chance. You know what I mean? And everyone knows Arsenal's I've got a soft spot for Arsenal. You know, Ronaldinho go with the super chat says, if we don't score early, it'll be like Burnley and West Bromwich Albion. Like West Bromwich Albion, like he means,
yeah, like those games where we get a bit frustrated.
Okay.
It's almost like a coil, right? Burnley sit. All of a sudden, boom, one long ball. You know, all of a sudden we're 2v2, 3v2, and then
yeah. I mean, look, they hit us on the counter in the first game. Like, sorry, the couple of times where Havertz and Lukaku and Mount, I think, was the front three. I think that played at Anfield, wasn't it, Jam? I think that was the front three there. Yeah, so look, they've got form for that, and we have to be wary. Keith, give us your team lineup, predicted lineup, and give us a score prediction.
Yeah, so obviously Alisson, Virgil, Matip, Tsimikas, Trent. For me, the middle three, you know, it's going to be Fabinho, Henderson, and you know, the hope is that it will be Thiago, and or else it should be Curtis Jones. I don't want to see Oxlade-Chamberlain there. I don't want to see Keita there. I really don't.
Really?
You know, they don't play good in that position. Not at all.
Goal mouth bombs.
Never seen a good game in that position. And the front three should be Jota, Firmino, and Salah. So that's my.
So two bombshells. Sadio Mane take a seat, and Keita and Ox take a seat. And if Thiago's not fit, Curtis Jones step up, boy.
That's what I'm going for.
Wow. Jams, I can't tell you how much hate he's going to get now on Twitter. like the Liverpool fans are going to be on him, but I've told him this is you know what I mean, this is his playground. You know what I mean? He has to face up to the music. Exactly. Go for him if you want to go for him and ask him.
I'll get the popcorn out.
Yeah, exactly. Curtis Jones starting a game, and he wants him to start at Stamford Bridge. I get it. The kid is cold. The kid does play good in high pressure situations, but I don't know. I think Naby is going to be. If Thiago doesn't make it, I think Naby is going to be picked. The rest of the team will be the same. And again, Jota and Bobby or Mane, two out of those three, I don't know yet. I know what you mean about Mane taking a seat, because that's what we've done at United as well. I'll go with your front three. I'll agree with you on the front three. I'll say Jota, Bobby, Mo. Your midfield three, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to say Hendo, Fabinho, Thiago. Praise the Lord. Inshallah, he's supposed to be training tomorrow. So hopefully he trains tomorrow, and then he'll be fine. Your prediction, Jam, was?
I never said it.
Hit us.
Do you know what's annoying me here? I'll just say quickly. I don't like coming onto these preview shows and just lying down. Do you know what I mean? I don't like that. I usually come up with a bit of fight, but today's pissed me off. Yesterday's pissed me off. December's pissed me off. So here we are. I'm going to go for in honor of the late Desmond Tutu, 2-2.
Oh, man. I hope that doesn't come through. But what a shout, brother. Oh, man. If we don't win, I hope that's the score draw like 2-2, because that was legendary.
Hopefully, man.
What a shout.
That'd be sick.
Keith, give us yours, man.
Yeah, I think 2-1. 2-1. I think we go 2-0 up. I think Lukaku gets his goal, but I think we'll just have enough.
Yeah, Lukaku will get his goal. He's bound to score. It's written, isn't it, in the stars after the weekend, the quotes and whatnot. He's going to score. I'm not going to give my score yet, as usual. I'm going to keep the audience guessing and you know, cussing me like, why am I always shitting myself with the score predictions? Now there's a method to my madness. But we'll do a post match where we will discuss all things. I think it's going to be an intriguing setup. I genuinely think it's going to be a fantastic game, because both teams have to literally go for it. Even though I don't think Chelsea tactically will go for it, but they will break with intensity. They will break with intent. Do you get what I mean? I don't mean they're just going to sit there all game and just sit at the back waiting to be picked off. What I meant by that was they're going to sit really deep and then literally wait for counterattacks. And I think they're going to put people in the box for set pieces. So they're not going to just play for a draw. I didn't mean that way. And us, we only know one way to play, Keith. As we said, we know we're not going to change our style for no one. We don't. Sometimes it's a criticism of the way we play. Sometimes usually it's a positive of the way we play. People are coming out with their combinations, man. It is what it is. But listen, Jams, as usual, man, you've been an absolute legend. Thank you very much for coming on, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Always a pleasure.
Nice one, nice one. Keith, I don't know if you're there. Are you there for Sunday, Red Fellas?
Yeah, I'll be there for Red Fellas.
Come on, man, please. Let's passionate. We need a passionate Keith, man. When Keith's passionate, we know we've won. Do you know what I mean? We need some positivity in our lives, man. But listen, this has been Carnage. We have just done the pre-match to Chelsea versus Liverpool. Hope to catch you guys very, very soon. You guys have been amazing. I think Avi is there in production to hit us with the intro. If he's not, he's sacked. Over and out. Take care.